Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining. I definitely can say it's stunning to see that so many people came here tonight to join this initiative, to build a practical tool set that helps hopefully all of us to drive sustainability in our daily work and with our daily work. And so when I looked the last time, I saw like we are almost 80 people, I think, which is great. And as I said, I can speak for all of us. We are super happy that you made it here and want to start this with us, because as you all know, right now the climate conference is taking place in Glasgow, and I think we all look up there with the hope that the leaders of the world will do what has to be done. But we all know that politics can be complicated and compromises are difficult to find. And from what we hear at the moment, they will not do enough. So there is, for example, there is no word about phasing out fossil fuel, the fossil fuel industry. There's nothing about stopping deforestation. There's nothing about stopping the climate greenwashing. There is so far no commitment that the rich countries will deliver on the promised 100 billion they wanted to deliver by 2022. And I think, and we think, we cannot wait for politics. We need to take action by ourselves, every single one of us. And all of you who have seen a talk of us before know the quote by Robert Swan we are using very often. It says, "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it." It is on every one of us to do what we can. And we are convinced that every single small step is a good thing. Nevertheless, how small it is, we must not give up hope, but work and fight for a future step by step. Then we can make an impact and be a change. So what are we planning for tonight? Here's our short agenda. I'm not the only person driving SUX. We are a wonderful team, and I want you all at least to see all of the team for 1 or 2 seconds. So we will all come, or all will come on stage, and you can have a look at this great team who is building this up. And then for all of you who might have not heard one of our talks, I will give a quick overview about SUX, but also for all of us to be on the same page. So when I'm looking to the side, it's not because I'm doing something else. It's just I have the chat open here with the team, because when I'm presenting, I only see my presentation and unfortunately nobody of you. So don't wonder about that. So then, after giving you like a view on SUX in a nutshell, I want to talk about the UN SDGs and why sustainability is more than CO2 emissions. After that, our team member Alice will give you a quick overview about the workshop toolkit that all of you get to work with us on SUX. And once Alice is done, I want to give you a detailed overview how we organize the work so that we all can work together and in parallel. And in the end, I'll give you an overview about the roadmap, the next dates, and the concrete next steps to get into work within the next 2 weeks. So let's start with the team. And I'm asking the team to come on stage for a second. We are, and I will stop the presentation for a minute to see if someone is joining, and I see there is the first one coming. So all over Europe, and we are working on this for quite some weeks and months now, actually preparing this. So the idea was already born some weeks ago, and I think we are really happy that we found together. We all work on sustainability for the past years, I would say, in different areas and in different ways. So it's great that we found together, and I'm asking Isa as well to join. Where is she? I don't know. Well, you will, then I will make sure you meet Isa now or later if she cannot join at the moment. So Isa did the great, actually the great branding and artwork of the whole SUX thing. So you definitely should talk to her if you're interested in this. So thank you all. Maybe you can wave your hand for a second. There she is. Maybe you can wave your hand for a second and say hello, and then all good. So then let's move on. I will share my presentation once more. So, and well, we are the team who started driving this and started organizing this, but we, that includes you out there as well. We are happy that you all joined here today, and we hope that you join the group work as well, because we think altogether we can build something really useful and helpful for all of us and all designers and UX designers out there. And as I said, I guess many of you might have seen one of our presentations in the last weeks, but for all these who haven't, and to get us all on the same page, here's a very quick wrap up about the idea and the goal of the SUX initiative. We actually think instead of creating another manifesto, we need a practical and hands-on tool set that the design community can use in their daily work to change our ways of working and also to convince others. I think many of us know this feeling of wanting to do something, but lacking tools and a point where to start. We want to change this. We want to give us, all of us, a playbook to drive sustainability. So therefore, we were actually thinking about the name I am talking so much about at the moment. And since we are not another manifesto, by tonight, we will change our name to SUX, the Sustainable UX Playbook, because this is what we want to be and what we want to build, a playbook to drive sustainability through UX and design. And this playbook shall be built by all of us, by the community, because the more people join, the more ideas we can create, right? And this playbook shall be built for the whole UX and design community. Nevertheless, if people have worked on it or not, everyone shall be able to use it. The more people will do, the more impact we can make, right? And SUX shall be non-profit always. So the playbook shall be a collection of daily work tools. So what tools and knowledge do we need in our daily work to drive sustainability? But also of, I call it communication helpers. So how can we convince others, being it our colleagues or managers or clients? And at last, also best practice cases. What best practice cases are out there? How can we make use of them, or what can we learn from them? And what is also important to us, we want to tackle all aspects of sustainability. CO2 emissions and the rescue of our planet is super urgent, yes. But sustainability contains more aspects. So, for example, what have we won if we save the world only for us, the rich people from the rich countries? We think it is on us to create a world that gives every human being, and as well every other being on this planet, the chance to live a delightful life, and not only us who were lucky enough to be born on the rich side of the world. And therefore, the UN Sustainable Development Goals are a perfect basis to start from, we think. So let's do a quick excursion to the SDGs. And if you have seen one of our talks, we are just naming them there. So we thought it's a good idea to get in a little bit more detail to the SDGs. I guess many of you might have heard of the SDGs, but maybe not all of you have read about them in more detail. Like, I have to admit, like me for a long time. So I will do a quick overview. And to do so, I just took one fact per SDG to show you what we are talking about. And I think what is also important, each SDG has many sides and describes problems that seem to be more far away from us, but most often always has also a side that is very close to us. So let's go through it one by one. Number one is no poverty. So just one example, COVID-19 has led to the first rise of extreme poverty in a whole generation. Or another one, 4 billion people in the world are not covered by social protection. The second one, zero hunger. Another fact I took from the SDG side, the number of undernourished people grew from approximately 600 million in 2014 to 720 to 810 million in 2020. So there is a rise of people who do not have enough to eat. 3 is good health and well-being. One example, in Northern America, you have like 150 health workers per 10,000 people. In the sub-Sahara area, you have 10 health workers per 10,000 people. And another side, maybe a little closer to us, mental health issues are by far the number one reason for inability to work. And so in terms of this, just one example from my current project I'm working on. So at my current project, I'm working a lot with a Chinese factory. The project manager got a slight stroke. In German, that's a Schlaganfall. And only a few days later, he had to get back to work. The only change was meetings shall be no longer than 30 minutes. Still, he is working full day. It's unbelievable, I think, for us here in our countries. But yeah, that is a fact in other parts of the world. 4, quality education. And here's another number. 55% of children in grade 1 to 8 fell below minimum reading proficiency levels in 2020, right? So half of the children are not really able to read very well. And this is dramatic, I think. 5, gender equality. And I brought you 2 facts here. 1 of 3 women have been subjected to physical and or sexual violence at least once in their lifetime since the age of 15. And also, women present only 25% of the members of national parliaments and only 28% of managerial positions. So there is a huge, huge inequality still out there. 6, clean water and sanitation. 2 billion people worldwide lack safely managed drinking water. And another fact, between 1970 and 2015, natural wetlands shrank by 35%. 7, affordable and clean energy. So like around 750 million people lack access to any electricity. And also the share of renewable energy is still way too low, although we are talking so much about it, right? And honestly, I think too often we hear that, for example, electric mobility is the answer to everything. Fact is, we are using too much energy, we, the industry countries. And as long as we cannot produce it all renewable, we need to reduce and not only build electric cars. 8, decent work and economic growth. And here's another interesting number I got from the site. 1.6 billion informal economy workers who lack any social safety net were significantly affected by the pandemic. This is dramatic, I think. 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. We still need a dramatic increase in investments in research and development to find solutions for a crisis such COVID-19. And well, I'm pretty sure the next crisis will come someday, sooner and not later, I think. 10, reduce inequalities. So another number, the proportion of the global population who are refugees has more than doubled since 2010. Well, I think we all know the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. And so our wealth in the Western countries has a lot to do with what and how we export, how we use the resources of other countries and all that stuff. So there is a huge inequality still there. 11, sustainable cities and communities. Well, all of you who live in a bigger city, look out on the streets. Our cities are built for cars, not for humans. We give cars more public space than us or our children. And even worse, 1 billion people worldwide still live in slums. 12, responsible consumption and production. And here's another interesting number. So every one of us generates approximately 7.3 kilograms of electronic waste per year. So like smartphones, whatever. Problem is only 1.7 kilograms of that are recycled. And also fossil fuel subsidies continue to threaten the achievement of the Paris Agreement and the 2030 agenda. And when we look to Glasgow right now, it does not look like there is a significant change coming from there right now. 13, and this is what I think we all have mostly in mind when we talk of sustainability, climate action. Well, and therefore I think I need not to say too much here. I think we all know that we are in, sorry to say that, fucking deep trouble here. And again, it does not look like the negotiations in Glasgow are radical enough to save us. 14 is life below water. And here is another interesting fact. There are so-called dead zones in the oceans where no more life is possible. And from 400 of these dead zones in 2008, we grew to 700 of these dead zones in 2019. 15, life on land. Another example. So from all the species that are on the IUCN Red List, 25% are threatened with extinction. And for example, while we are talking here tonight, the leaders in Glasgow do nothing to stop deforestation, for example. 16, peace, justice, strong institutions. And just one short example here, child labor is rising. It rose to 160 million in 2020. And that brings me to the last point, partnerships for the goal. Something we already do here tonight all together, and that is great. But here's also another important fact. Half of the global population has no access to the internet. And well, we all know that would be crucial for communicating and partnering. And what you also can say for all these goals, the pandemic has made it worse. It reversed many things that already had been achieved. So made the situation worse compared to the years before. So we think we need to take action on climate and saving our planet, but there is more to do than just this. So with this, let's come to the practical part. How do we want to do it? And so our team member, Alice, did a fantastic job, I can tell, on building a workshop template for a whole workshop series to tackle an SDG in detail and to create ideas how to drive it in our daily work. And we call this the SUX workshop kit. And with this, I want to hand over to Alice, who will give us a short intro to the toolkit in the Miro board. So, Alice, would you like to come to the stage?
Yeah, so thanks, Thorsten, and thanks everyone who is here tonight. I'm amazed by the people, the number of people today, and it's also a great sign that we all want to change something for the good. But yeah, let's see what we've prepared for you to make the first steps hopefully a bit easier, because when it comes to sustainability, it can be easily very overwhelming. And yeah, I will give you a short overview and introduction to the template. You can see it as a guidance for your process within your future co-working groups. And every step will be explained, but there's always room to individualize your way of working, of course. So yeah, the first view might looks maybe also a bit overwhelming, but there are so many frames, but the most things are basically helping guidance. So let's start here. So the first row in the template is just some background information about this template, the structure, and our SUX channels. And I'll zoom in a bit. So the template is structured in 3 pillars. Can know, where you build a common knowledge base around your chosen SDG later. Can do, where you analyze and ideate on ideas and solutions. And should do, where you create a UX vision for your chosen SDG. And so if you decide to join, there will be 3 main co-creation sessions where you meet up with your group. The first will be a grounding session, the second is an analyze session, and the third is the creation session. And the last session will be a presentation session. There will be time where you talk about your outcomes and so on, and give each other feedback. It can be done in your small working groups, but we will also have a community presentation session in the end. To get a better understanding, I will give you a quick deep dive into the sessions. So the first thing to do is usually to select an SDG, but in our context, you will already choose your preferred SDG later in the participation form. So this is how we match you with other people. But I have to say, just to remember, we're looking in this template into our daily practice as UX designer. This is why I think some SDGs are maybe a bit easier to work on or to start. And this is why I made some SDGs a bit transparent. This is just what I'm suggesting, but of course, if you already have an idea or if you already in some ways more into one SDG because of your work, then you're of course free to choose any SDG you want. Yeah. Okay, let's start here. So you can see for every session, there's always a preparation and example row, and below there's a free template. The exams are based on the SDG gender equality. These are some examples from our test workshops. So there will be always a suggested agenda for each workshop and always a short warm-up exercise. You know that especially when you work with people, with new people, it's good to break the ice with it and start something easy and fun. And then we will have a brainstorm activity to touch a topic and find relations to UX. And then there's a template to create your knowledge base with good and bad examples of digital products or services, as well as important terms to know in this context. And then the last step would be to create your own UX vision for the chosen SDG with a brainwriting exercise. And in the end, we always have a feedback round template, and this is the place where you can exchange afterwards and maybe give also some feedback to the template as well, because it can be always developed further and you can help us with that. And then probably you have some time in between the first and the second co-creation session. And this is a time where you reflect on what you talked about in the first session. It's like a diary where you collect your thoughts and that comes up during your work, which is related to the topic. And also at the same time, it's a mental preparation for the next co-working session. So you observe yourself a bit. And then when we go to the next co-creation session, to the second one, you have some room at the beginning to exchange about your own observations of the past weeks. But the main activity for this session is the double diamond analysis. So you will split your team into 2 or more, and you look of each step of a general design process. So you search in each step for potentials and opportunities to bring in values of your SDG into the design process in each step. So you do this for every general step. And after that, you prioritize the most potential or important opportunities that you found. And after that, you're almost done. And then in between this session and the next session, everyone can also reflect on the prioritized opportunities and already maybe choose for yourself which one you want to focus on. So at the beginning of the third session, you revisit your UX vision, and maybe you want to change something or complement it because on the way you learn something new which you think is important, should be included. And then you go back to your opportunity board and you can tell your group which opportunity you want to work on. You can team up with another member or you do it individually. And after that, there are different templates that help for different purposes. So first of all, there is, first of all, you describe what you want to ideate on and why you see potential in it. And then you choose one of the ideation methods we prepared. Or you can also use whatever method fits better for you. But for example, if you want to change a method that you usually use, you could use Scamper. If you want to change a method, and if you want to come up with a criteria list, maybe the template in the middle helps. Or if you create something completely new, the ideation flower can be a good start. And then you have space to visualize your idea and describe it more in detail. And then you sum up your idea and this template in the end. And also, of course, you can finish it afterwards if you don't have enough time. And then in the last session, it's more like a presentation session. And as I said already, it's a space where you can exchange your outcomes, you can give each other feedback, develop the ideas a bit further. But we will also have a community meetup where all co-working groups can present their outcomes. And in the end, you will have a last revisit of your vision. Where you can phrase it to the main core aspects. So that's basically it. The Miro board is freely available in the Miroverse, the community template, if you know it, a template library. But we will also later provide you an already prepared one for your session. And if you have a closer look later on, then you can see everything is more described in detail, deeper than I described it now. And yeah, this part is also uploaded on Vimeo, so we can share the link afterwards if you want to see it again. And yeah, I think that's it. And thank you for listening. Now I will hand over back to Torsten.
Thank you very much, Alice, for doing. So now let's have a look on how we planned to organize us and the work on the different SDGs. As we already have said today, we want to form small groups working each one on one or more of the SDGs based on the workshop template that Alice just presented. And afterwards, we want to bring together the results to make them available for the whole design community. So let's look into more detail with the groups. So to get the groups working, each group gets a few things to make it as easy as possible to start working. At first, a first steps guideline to get the work started. Each group gets their own Miro workshop board, so you do not even need to set it up by your own. We will provide you with the link. Each group also gets their own Slack channel in our SUX Slack space, so you can communicate easily. And we also set up for each group a workspace in Notion to document results that you cannot document in the Miro board, for example, so that you have a workspace where you can share and store information. And we also want to nominate one member per group as a group facilitator and we ask this person to the, I think, very little organizing tasks. So like setting up the group meetings. So just a quick example, right? Let's say we have two groups, and then we might have group one working on the SDG number 1, no poverty. And we might have group 2 working on the second SDG, zero hunger. But there might be also more than one group working on the same SDG. So if many of us want to work on the climate SDG, we will have more than one group working on it. The more people, the more ideas we can create, we think. So that is great and no problem. Important is each group works independently and decides on their own when, how long, and how often they want to meet. We thought of, hey, shall we do like this big meeting we do today? Like I just had a look, so we are more than 100 people are here, and it would be like impossible to find regular dates where we all can meet together. That's why we decided to do it in this more decentralized way. So to give you an example here as well, one group might do less meetings but make them longer, maybe doing in one session 2 of the parts of the workshop template, while another group meets more often in shorter meetings. So that is up to the groups how it fits best to them. And as I said, in the end, we want to bring all the results together to make them available to the community for free. So the goal is to get a collection of, as I said, practical work tools and methods, best practice cases, and communication helpers. And this should be easily searchable and discoverable based on, for example, by SDG or by type or by other factors. So let's have a quick look at the timings that we have planned. And let's start with having a look at the roadmap. So we are doing the global kickoff right now. That is the 9th of November. And we are planning to start the group work by next week. So groups are formed by then. I will come to that in detail on the next slides. Each group got their Miro board, their Slack channel, and their workspace. So everything they need to get the work started. And then it's up to the groups to decide when they have time to meet and do their first workshop. Then we planned on the 14th of December global check-in, so a short meetup of the whole community. If there are already first results, we can present them there, but it's not expected to have first results already then. And we also plan to have like at least 1 or maybe 2 small lightning talks of some external guests also. For February 2022, we plan the results event. So another meetup with the whole community where we bring together and present the results of the work. And then also by February, we want to bring all this together in the playbook and have the go live of the playbook. So all the results will be available for everyone, also outside of the community. So from the roadmap, let's go to the concrete next steps that we have. So to be able to form these groups, we ask you to fill out this short Google form, and where we ask you for your preferences to be able to form well-fitting groups. we thought of if we would be able to do this live here tonight in the evening, but then we were like, okay, that might be a big chaos actually trying to form groups with 100 people. So what we are actually asking you there is, what SDG or SDGs would you prefer to work on? Are you already a group of people who wants to work together? So I know there are a few of you that might have already a group with that they want to join. So you can tell us that there as well. And we ask you also if you would be willing to facilitate one of the groups, as I said. So we need one facilitator for each group. That I think it's not too much work for a facilitator. It's more of organizing these. Okay, when do we do the next event? And that's it mainly from my point of view. And we ask you to fill out this form as soon as possible. So the deadline we set is next Sunday. And so that's the 14th of November, I think, because on Monday, we plan to sit together to form the groups. The link to this form is also provided on the Miro board in case you somehow missed it now. And I want to add one more thing regarding the facilitators for the groups. So I said there will be a step-by-step guideline for each group, and there will be an additional short guideline for the facilitators. So no worries that it's somehow complicated or you do not know what to do. It's super easy, I think, to do this. And if you haven't already, we kindly ask you to join our Slack community so we can invite you and your group into your own group Slack channels. You have the link here. It is also provided on the Miro board. So what happens in the next days in a nutshell? As I said, we asked you to fill out the Google form and tell us about your preferences so we are able to set up the groups. We will meet next Monday to form the groups from your input, and afterwards each group gets their own starting package per mail and Slack. So with a first steps guideline, and as I said, there will be an extra guideline for each facilitator, so no worries there. Each group gets their own ready workshop board. As you have seen in Ali's presentation, I think the board is pretty much self-explaining. In case there are any more questions, we are always there, willing to help. There could also someone of us jump into a workshop if you feel like, okay, you need maybe some support. So no worries there. As I said, we also set up a group Slack channel for each group and a group Notion space for each group. And by that, we ask the group facilitators to take over and find together with their group a date for the first meeting and then for further meetings as well. On the 14th of December, we will all come together again for a short global meetup. As I said, there are like no expectations to bring results to this event. In case you were very fast and already would like to show something, you are more than welcome to do so. And mainly we want to use this to see how the work is going, to learn from each other, to be able to discuss cross-group about things. And as I said, we also plan to provide at least one, maybe two short lightning talks and to get some inspiration for the community. So that's it for today. Please make sure to fill out the form so we can create the groups, and make sure to join our Slack if you haven't already. And I would also like to ask you to have another look at today's Miro board. So at the last section is about giving us some feedback about today's event. So be honest, what did you like? What did you not like? It helps us just to make it better the next time. And I want to end up here. I want to bring up another great quote that I really like. It's by Dr. Lynn Margulis. She was a famous microbiologist, and she said, "Life did not take over the globe by combat, but by networking." The better we are all connected, the more impact we can be. So although the official part is over now, we ask you and invite you all to stay for some more minutes to meet, to talk, because as I said, the better we are all connected, the more we can achieve and the more impact we can be. So once more, thank you all for joining today. And are there any questions right now? You can ask them in the chat right now. I would say we keep up the broadcast for a few more minutes to discuss the most urgent questions right here, right now. And then we also have like a questions area in the Wonder space. So at least a few of us will be there to discuss more questions and in more detail afterwards. So there are already some questions. Okay, Sonal is asking, my time availability is a bit limited, so I don't want to commit and then not be able to contribute the required amount of time. Do you have any estimates on the minimum time commitment, or is this group dependent? So what I can say, we did the whole workshop series with our group, and we did not even do 4 meetings. I think we did 3, and we had a workshop duration per meeting between 1 and 2 hours. So it's some time ago. I think it is group dependent for sure, and but what I can tell, sometimes it helps to time box maybe one workshop, so it should be possible to, or it's not like that you have 4 8-hour full day workshops. That's not necessary. Okay. Martino is asking, is there a quick way to know the global representation now? Okay, I do not exactly understand what you mean with that, and maybe that is because of my bad English. Could you specify that a little bit? Okay, Annie is asking, is the end goal to wind up with some sort of new project we can collab and launch, or is it more about how we can incorporate an SDG into our daily work as a designer? The end goal is to create as many ideas that help us in our daily work, and to create this playbook as, for example, have it available on a website, to provide it to the whole community. So to have, for us, like saying, hey, I want to drive work on the aspect of climate change. What can I do in my daily work? I want to do it. I have no idea. Then you have this source where you can look up and see what this community created in great ideas. So, and I think, though we have this phase now planned from now until February 2022, in our opinion, it's not over then, right? This is something and should be something that can and shall grow over the time more and more. So yeah, that's the idea. Okay. Okay. Martino is asking how many of us are representing each country region. Well, I don't have an overview. That's why we had it on the Ask You on the Miro board to see it. But I think it's not, so we are not planning to put together the groups in like country-wise or area-wise. Well, we look to have like people in maybe in the same or similar time zones to make it easier to form groups. But there can also people work together from all over the world. Okay, Clemens is saying, love the enthusiasm, but we feel that the segmentation into the 16, 17 SDGs is not strategic. Too much emphasis on designing a solution, not an understanding a problem. Make sure that you don't start too late. Focusing on tools have never solved the strategic challenge. All this has to take into account the context of use. I see I see where you come from. Well, and Clemens and me, we know each other for a long time now. Still, I can tell from what we experienced when we did the workshop series on our own. It helps to break it down and to start on one end, because it takes away these super high level systemic system view, I would say. Sometimes it helps to have a look at one aspect. Still, it does not need, or it does not mean that we strictly keep it per SDG. In the end, we want to create something that helps us to drive sustainability. And from our point of view, the SDGs are used to make starting the work on this a little bit easier, to have smaller pieces to work on. Okay, Barnaby is, so I'm having a look at the time. Yeah, I'll try to go through the questions that are still there. I'm relatively new UX designer. I would love to assist, but I worry that I may be less of a help and more of a hindrance. Do you think the process would be viable for someone coming in with less experience? Yes, for sure. It's not about experience. It is no problem. I am 110% sure everyone can contribute, because I think Alice did a great job in building these workshop template, which leads you through this process step by step and makes it easy even if you're new to the field, for sure. So Dori said, I would agree with the above. Wonder how the existing UX solutions could be adjusted to all SDGs rather than the other way around, but interested to see what comes out. Yeah, sure. Julia says, at what time will be the workshop? Same time of the kickoff event. So the next event that we do with the whole community will again be, I think, in the evening European Standard Time, because that means that people from the more western part of the world can also join. If we see that we have many people also joining from more eastern side, we might change this, but this is what we plan so far. Workshop time for the groups depend on the groups, so each group can decide on their own, and that's why we want to set up rather small groups, so it makes it easy to find dates and times for the workshop. Okay, I need to get up with chat. So Aki asked, I've joined 30 minutes late. Yeah, we can definitely provide the links. Maybe someone of the team can post them once more in the chat. Chris posted the Miro board, and there you find the links to Slack and also to the Google form. Okay, then next, Susie asks, do you know some scientists that could underline or prove if our ideas will work or have a big impact? For example, how much CO2 impact has an email, newsletter, etc. For this, we might need scientists or cooperation, or am I going too far? So from my personal point of view, I think there are already many facts out there about what, for example, causes how much CO2. That's one thing. And the second thing is, the cool thing about us is, well, I think something we also all know very well is how to measure our work, right? So we all do a lot of user testing and these things, and I think we also can test our ideas in the field because we have the tools to do so. And yeah, I think it is an interesting part to see how ideas work out there in the field, for sure. Okay. Okay, Kerstin has a nice commentary, but no question. Martino. There is the link. Felix asks, do you maybe have a link to your slides as well the info that is not on the Miro boards. Yeah, good point. So what we do after the meetup, we did record the meeting. Well, we had to do some technical tricky stuff to do so, and we plan to make that available for everyone, and also we will make available the slides as well. So it's for you that are here tonight, that you